All right, so we've had quite the incredible year so far, but for Tesla investors, next year and the following will be when the major milestones that really matter are expected to happen. So today, let's review every one of these milestones. We have a comprehensive list of 26 milestones, some of which might very well be major stock catalysts. Together as a group, we can discuss and debate each of these, and I'm sure there's going to be some that we've missed. So we've got the bulls here with us today. I've got Tesla Boomer Mama, the Queen Alexandra Mertz. I got Jeff Lutz, also known as Mr. Incredible, the Natural Bull, and the Rational Bull. And soon we're going to have Larry Goldberg appearing here, the Golden Bull. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing here?
Good morning, Herbert. I thought you were going to introduce me as Iris Apfel's reincarnation, but
I don't know that.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Today's really going to be a fun one. It's an important one, I think. We're going to cover the 2025 milestones. We'll also review some of the new shorts that have been popping up or who's brave enough to be here. And if we have time, we'll do some questions, not only from the audience, but questions that we've been hearing from everyone. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through a list of the 2025 milestone list. If everybody kind of remembers, I produced these milestone tables, and I've been keeping track of every single milestone that Tesla's ever done since its inception. And what I'm doing now is this is the 2025 list, and what I need to do is have help from everybody. If I'm missing anything, we will go through line by line and debate whether or not it's going to happen in certain time periods or what time we think it is. That's the 2025 list. But if you remember, I've kept track of everything from 2003 to 2021. Here's the whole list of everything that happened during that period of the major milestones. Only some, by the way, is considered to be stock catalyst. So everybody seems to think that I'm always calling it a catalyst. Yes, I do put the Tesla stock here, but I call them milestones. Not everything is a catalyst. This is the 2022 milestone list that we had. And, there's some things that we never hit, right? We never actually happen. I guess this is now done in 23, but at that time, it wasn't quite ready yet. I'm going to add
the Twitter overhang, yeah.
Yeah. Here's 2023, the milestone table. And again, this one was a partial. And then, what? Oh, shoot. I put in the wrong one. Sorry. Obviously, a lot of this was done. I put in the wrong one. This was the thing that was still happening. And then 2024, I really have to update this. I fell behind. There's some things here that certainly didn't happen, like Gigafactory Leon groundbreaking, Tesla beta FSD in China and Europe. We all thought it was going to happen 2024. Many of us did. And a lot of things were obviously still like new Megapack factory, not yet announced. Version 13, not yet happened. Elon compensation package judgment might happen by the end of this year. So what we're going to do is review the 2025 list and then go through that. Well, so yeah, why don't we just start with that? Why don't we start with you, Alexandra? What are you thinking about 2025 in general? I know you've always said that 2026 is the year to follow.
Yes, I mean, I think 2026 is the most consequential years in terms of revenue production and Wall Street finally getting it. But 2025 still will have a lot of milestones that are important, especially on the FSD side and most probably on the licensing side. So I don't know whether you want to go us through the different lines that you have on your table or whether you just want us to talk freely about it. I don't mind either way. The one thing that I noticed in the 2023 and 2024 lists that was not accomplished was obviously the opening of Giga Mexico. And I think that is for good reasons. And I do believe with the new administration now in place, that is still as much on hold than it was the last 18 months. So I'm really not sure if that will see the light of the day, or whether we're just gonna expand Austin much more consequentially because there is room there. And if the tariffs put in place and if the political situation put in place remain as they have been announced, I don't think we're gonna see that one coming up. So I don't know, Herbert, do you want us to go line by line through your table, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, we'll go line by line. But before we do that, I'm just setting the stage of just your general thinking about 2025 and 2026, and then we'll go all that. Let's get with you, Jeff.
Yeah, I think 2025 is honestly convergence to autonomy, and that's that's got to be the overriding goal. And then behind that, there's both growth in unit volume and portfolio as it relates to automobile and energy. And I'm thinking we're also going to get some surprises in terms of progress on the humanoid and its deployment and the acceleration behind that project. That project is becoming more and more important, in the world. So, but I think really 2025 is about convergence on autonomy, and then honestly restarting that scale, that growth in scale on the hardware side. So by the time autonomy arrives, the business is ramped up and is able to serve the hardware that the software can work upon. It just finally, I don't think it's widely known that when NVIDIA just had their earnings call yesterday, and they bucketized the AI activity in terms of training and post training and an inference. I just don't think people realize, even from a token. I'd be interested to see some of the measurements from a token perspective, but Tesla today, in terms of edge devices, our Tesla vehicles have Tesla silicon inside them that run inference using Tesla hardware that's designed by Tesla and using software that is designed by Tesla. The competitive view of that is NVIDIA, possibly a few others, but mainly NVIDIA with their hardware, their software platform, trying to serve everybody. But in terms of Tesla, they've been way out ahead of this. So I just think it's really important to put all of this in context. And I just don't think it's clear for everybody in terms of Tesla's lead in where AI is actually going. And maybe that's something we think about measuring as well from a milestone perspective in term. I don't know if it's token, if it's token efficient, it's just total. I don't know what the measurement is, but the number of AI operations that Tesla is actually conducting with video in and control out versus everything else that's out there in the world, I think it's worth noting.
Yeah, it's interesting creating all these milestone lists because Tesla is such a big company with so many different departments, divisions, and business models, and they're all coming together now in 2025. And so this list is getting longer and longer. I used to always just wanted to keep it to like 20, and now it's getting bigger. And I'm sure I'm missing some that are very important milestones, and they seem to all be, again, as we've been saying, discussion we've been having quite a number of times now. 2025 is the year that it feels like some of these big milestones are coming. So let's go through them one by one. I know it's going to be hard, but this is just the best model I can think of. And as we talk about them, we can obviously move things around. This is just me creating a draft. I've not published this yet. I will publish it on X once we've had a chance. So my hope is that you guys can tell me, no, that's wrong. I'm missing something. These are the wrong dates. Let's move things around. But, the first one that I put in here is Megapack Factory Shanghai's launch in the first quarter of 2025. We've been hearing quite a number of updates. I think about 2 months ago, we heard that it was 70% complete. We've been following the drone shots of the actual Megapack factory, and we've seen the statements from Tesla themselves, right? That the Shanghai factory, Megapack factory, is going to be actually delivering production to customers in Q1 as well. And that seems to be on track. You guys have any comments on that milestone?
I think there's still a chance that this is happening this year. We've always been surprised by progress in China, how quickly it goes, how efficient everything is put in place. So I do believe there's still a chance that this happens before the end of the year. And this is gigantic in terms of production. If I remember right, it's 12 times bigger than Lathrop. It's been a while that I've looked into the energy. It's a shame that Larry wasn't able to connect because he knows this so well. But this is going to be really important in terms of stabilizing and increasing energy revenues.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeff?
No, yeah, it's definitely going to be bigger than Lathrop. I'm not sure about 12, but it's going to be definitely bigger. I think Alexander's right. I think construction's running ahead, but I think the definition of this milestone is going to be, production output coming out of the factory going to customers. So that's been a pull-in from the last earnings release in July to the October earnings release, Tesla changed the text in the earnings release to say, instead of saying start of production in Q1, they actually said shipping or something to that effect in Q1. So they've already pulled it in, and I believe they'll keep to that plan in Q1. There's a lot of work to do once you commission a factory for production to then actually qualify it with a customer for first shipments. There's a significant amount of work to do there, and like I said, I think they're tracking. But Q1.
Okay, you're saying Q1. I like what you said, Alexandra. That could actually happen in Q4 because there's a potential that they make the announcement the very last few days, right, of this year saying
Exactly.
it's ready, it's launched. And if they could do it, they will, just for funsies. So if you're watching this and you're on YouTube, please write down. I see a couple people already giving ideas of milestones that I might have missed. We haven't gone down to the whole list yet, by the way, but I'll scroll down later. And then if you have a question, put the word question there, and the last segment of the show will answer questions from the audience. So that's the Megapack Factory Shanghai. That's a second Megapack Factory. I do have down below here somewhere that a new Megapack Factory will be announced. There it is. I put it there, and I put down in the second half of this year. Oh, sorry, I wasn't showing my screen, guys. You have to tell me if I'm not showing my screen. So
No, you mean second half of next year, right?
Yeah, second half of next year that a new Megapack Factory should be announced. I'm very confident that this is something that's going to happen. Less so about Gigafactories, but Megapack Factories. If you've already got two of them launched, why wouldn't you announce the second one or the third one?
I completely agree. I completely agree. And I actually thought that would have happened already during 2024. I think that is also consequent of the current changes in the political landscape. Remember that for a very long time, Elon was traveling Europe and Asia, and people were speculating, was it for gigafactories, was it for megapack factories? And that seems already a long time ago, right? That seems already a year and a half ago. I'm so bad always with timing stuff, but it's certainly not recent. So I do believe the economics of all those megapack companies, there could actually be more in America. The need for them is worldwide. There could be some in Australia. So I do believe that once we have Shanghai up and running, that model is going to be used to construct others, and wouldn't be surprised if that starts already in 2025. Yes.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeff? When is the next Megapack Factory going to be announced?
I mean, probably the first half of the year, I would say.
Should I change it? Yeah, I'll change it.
Yeah, I think you can put that one higher up. Yeah.
Okay, look at you guys. Okay, Model Y revised Juniper. That seems like we are seeing spy shots now of this more and more. It seems like it's going to happen. I mean, it's just high likelihood, and I still put it Q1. What's your opinion?
I think the rollout's going to be regional. It's possible that it's in Q1 in some region. I think there's been some information, but Tesla hasn't formally guided to it. But I think it would be kind of one quarter for one set of regions, the following quarter another set of regions. So I think it's in the first half.
Do you expect the launch in China, or do you expect it in the US?
Probably China.
It's China.
Same.
Wait,
I mean, to start
first half
in both eventually, everywhere eventually.
Jeff.
Yes, of course,
and
in
Q1.
Europe as well. But just okay.
Jeff.
Hi, Larry.
Q1.
Good to have you.
Hey guys, so we have some technical. Can you guys hear me?
It's terrible audio.
The sound is bad, but we see and hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
No.
Okay, well, I'm not sure this is going to work. I'm in the Denny's because although I've got a full of signal, I can't get in.
Yeah. Okay.
Get on
it's not good. Appreciate that, Larry. Next time. Sorry. I know that you're traveling.
Weeks,
you saw the Starship launch, and that's your. Appreciate you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm there in spirit.
See you soon.
No worries.
Okay. Model Y
Denny's is a good
revised.
destination after an all-night bender.
All sorts of things have happened in a Denny's, right? Like these, by the way, NVIDIA, right? Jensen Huang was in a Denny's when he wrote up the napkin. So that's Q1, Model Y revised. Jeff, say
Been thrown
Q1.
out of a Denny's. Is that true?
I don't know.
You have been thrown out of Denny's?
Jeff, say Q1 for Model Y revised. Don't say first half. No? Okay. Is he
I
frozen?
don't know.
I
Is it
think
true,
we
or-
lost Jeff.
All right.
Jeff, we lost you. Oh, there you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's move on. So you got FSD OEM licensing deals. Now, Jeff, you've been saying that this thing that you were hoping to have happened already this year. And then we had seen or heard rumors. These were rumors from a investment firm in China saying that it was going to be SAIC and Geely. But then I think we saw rumors again that I haven't confirmed this, that Tesla China themselves shot those rumors down. So I assume that those were not right. What's your thinking about OEM licensing deals of FSD? You want to start, Jeff? I think Jeff is frozen. Alexandra?
I think Jeff is frozen. My gosh, we're what a team today.
Yeah.
I mean, I follow obviously Jeff's lead on those licensing deals. I think he is very, very spot on in following them. With the China potential, there is no smoke if there is no fire. And I firmly believe that there are multiple Chinese OEMs working with Tesla on making this happen. Now, is it big enough to be announced? Of course not, because there was no announcement. But I am utterly convinced that that's going to happen. I mean, just remember over the last couple of months, there were Chinese CEOs coming to the US, driving FSDs, expressing how impressed they were. I mean, why would you film yourself in a Tesla and put it on X saying how impressed you are if that's not the way you want to go? I mean, it seems evident. And all these rumors, of course, they don't want to announce it. Nothing's been signed. Nothing's been negotiated to the point that, you know, they feel comfortable to do that. But I do believe there's both a need and an urge of these companies. And I do believe the state-owned car makers are actually first in line. And that's important in China. They understand how important Elon is. They want to make sure this is happening. They want safety on their roads. The safety scores in China are horrid. They want to protect their people. And I do believe we'll obviously see them in the United States and one day as well in Europe. But China will be the first ones to announce.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm getting PowerShare installed, so there's a lot of movement of power and Wi-Fi happening in my home right now. I've been talking about this. I think this is imminent. I think Alexandra described it well. Remember, you know, there's a proposal, you know, being discussed of a national framework. Who would be at the core of proposing that national framework? Would be, you know, the person right now closest in the transition team, Elon, working on that. And you'd have to think that what's happened pre-election to post-election, that's not widely discussed, but it would be that Elon is also, he's always been kind of an attractive to country and state leaders to work with. Like they want him to come into their country and build. And now I think he's now all of a sudden become attractive to other CEOs to want to work with, because if you can get the right business relationship and just the right relationship going with him and his companies, he now has this power within government that no CEO in the world has, and advising the president. So I just think that overnight this has literally changed in the last month, from this person that was being chased around for lawfare and chased around for everything, to now all of a sudden he's at the core of a lot of this. And again, if he proposes a national framework or commissions a team to do that, and he's got some sort of oversight, I'm sure he's going to have proper separation of things and so forth. But you can bet that when he does something, he's going to do it for the benefit of of many companies. If there's a proposal for something like this, everybody's going to have access to the same proposal and be able to perform. So I just think in relation to FSD licensing, this has kind of switched overnight, where other CEOs around the world and including the US, it's now all of a sudden a better thing to kind of work with Elon.
Okay. Thank you both. So let's continue down the list. And after the OEM licensing deals, I put FSD version 14 unsupervised, but because it's supposed to be more affordable vehicles, or sorry, safer than a human. I should probably move this up higher. Yeah, I'm going to move that. Safer than a human, then FSD version 14. But that's because I'm assuming that version 13 is going to be done by the end of this year. Should I put version 13 in Q1?
I mean, these numbers are so random. They can do as many version 12 dot, I don't know how much then they want. They can launch it as 13 and they can launch 14 whenever they are ready. So I think it's a little bit difficult for you to time when they will call it whatever number. But I agree with you. The unsupervised will come next year. Now, will it come in first half? I doubt it. I think it will come in second half. I think they want to make ultra sure that their insurance cover, because that's what it means, right? Then Tesla is covering the cars and the consequences of driving, if that's what you mean with version 14. So I believe that is coming in Q2.
Mm-hmm. I just clarify that version 13 is actually already launched. It's just that it's internal, and they said that 13.3 is going to go wide release to all of us, and that is targeting November, like Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So I'm going to leave it to 2024.
Yeah. 13, I give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I just think 14, there can be many iterations of 13 before we get to 14.
Right. Jeff, version 14?
Agreed. I don't think the numbers, man, it's more of the functionality that's promised. So getting the 13 and getting everything that was promised in November, I think is the kind of the first course. And I thought Ashok talked about getting to unsupervised on 13. Possible.
Well, this is where I put FSD safer than humans and FSD version 14 unsupervised. It kind of feel like they're almost the same thing, maybe, but that is definitely a milestone, right?
No, I think FSD is safer. It is safer than humans right now.
No, wait, no. He's been very clear that by second half of next year, we're going to have full self-driving is going to be as safe as a human. And we're not talking about autopilot. We're not talking about highway driving. We're talking about all of it.
Incorrect.
Right? What did I hear wrong? What do you mean?
Okay. Look at Herbert. Look at his face. Look at his face.
Teach me, Jeff. What am I saying wrong? Come on. Okay.
What he spoke of, first off, there's safer than a humans, and then there's the necessary interventions or just interventions overall. And they're two different classes. So in terms of crash avoidance, it is now, I think it's one crash for every 7 million miles driven versus a conventional vehicle is one crash every 670,000 miles driven, something on that order. So it's already, in terms of crash avoidance, safer than a human. The promise for next year was around getting the interventions to a point where it's better than a human. Interventions.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so critical interventions, Herbert. You didn't get it at all. Let's just push that.
All right. So critical interventions are interventions, right?
Wait, did Herbert admit that he got something potentially?
He did. We didn't even have to do a bet this time.
No, you explained it. That's fine.
What did it take? 120 shows to get there, Alexandra?
All right.
Let's celebrate.
So
Can you imagine?
FSD China and Europe, I'm going to move this up higher, right? Oops. Oh, crap. What did I just do here? All right. Sorry, guys. Uh-oh.
Goodbye, FSD China.
Okay, so what do you guys think about this?
It's halfway back. It's halfway. Oh, now it's big.
Yeah. I'm going to move it up, right? It's going to be
You probably can put it with the OEM licensing deal. Exactly. That's
what?
Probably.
They're separate. They're totally separate things. No.
Yeah. They're different.
But is it first half or second half for next year?
For
Well, I mean, the thing
FSD?
is,
Yeah, China.
Sorry.
exactly. So I think you should separate them. I think you should make now a line FSD China, which is higher up, and an FSD Europe, which is lower down. Europe's
Too
not
many
gonna go
lines.
easy.
I don't want to have too many lines, but okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, it
They're
is
different
like
continents.
sort of.
Fine.
I think if you become a continent, you deserve your own line.
Fine. Jeez.
Yeah. Now we can discuss whether Australia is a continent if you want to.
True.
All right. So one is H1 and one is H2. You're saying that China's later than no. They're both
No,
gonna happen.
China-
the same.
China is
before.
earlier. China is probably H1. And
Gotcha.
Europe, I would pay late in H2 if
Okay,
ever,
gotcha.
if it is
Yeah, okay.
2025.
All right, there we go. Then we've got Cortex Supercluster online. That should be like first quarter, right?
Is it not yet?
It's already partially, right? Like fully online.
Exactly. So I mean,
So,
that one
Q1.
you can probably put very high up.
Okay. So I only have more affordable vehicles launched. Should that be broken down, or is this it?
Hey, Herbert, I mean,
many
correct me
models
if I'm
are you
wrong. I thought Cortex was doing B13. I thought it's doing B13 training.
That's
No,
exactly what I
no, we already. So Cortex is online. It's like 50% online. Like I guess I'm saying
Okay.
full 100.
I don't think
Thousand.
that thing ever has a term. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not good. It's not going to go to infinity, but they're just going to keep adding to it.
True. So
And I think you can probably put this into 2024 because this Cortex is gonna grow and grow and grow. So if you wait for 100% of everything, you'll never have it.
well, I agree, but I do think we need to have like some sort of like supercomputer milestones. So
Okay, well, leave
if
it
it's
there.
not just online, it should be maybe 200.
How about online over 50% or something like that, so that
No,
we understand?
200,000 equivalent.
Okay, even better.
Yeah.
H100 equivalents. So now if we do
Well-
that, is that a Q2? Is that a
I don't know. I think the more, I mean, this is all semantics. I thought the more relevant thing is that there's training jobs happening on the largest cluster, and then you can do following milestone equivalent. Like 100K seems it's the biggest supercomputer. I mean, that to me it deserves a milestone if you're the biggest supercomputer already online. And then 200K, yeah, that could be another milestone, and 300K or what have you. But maybe you do that later. But I think to Alexander's point, it's online. It's doing training, and maybe the point is like, yeah, when is the full 100K equivalent up?
all right?
That's it.
So when
Good
would
thing you wanted
put-
less lines. I love that.
I know we're just adding
Jeff, we're
lines.
gonna
It's not
make
right.
him have 50 lines. That's the goal.
Yeah, program managers need. I mean, the more lines, the more things they got to manage.
Right.
Fine. We'll do more
Then you
lines,
can
and then
manage
I'll
the
collapse
lines.
it
You can
later.
do so many shows out of 50 lines.
All right, more
Who's got
affordable
one?
vehicles. Is this split into just that one, or is that
Three
multiple?
lines. 3 lines. At least 3 lines. You agree, Jeff?
More H2. No, they're going to be that would be late if they're launched in H2.
What? Okay, so no, honestly, 3
It's in the
lines.
first 6 months. Of course, he said it. How many times did he
I
say
think
it?
you need 2 lines. I think you need start of production, and I think you need launch. But I don't know. Maybe I could be convinced of. I think they're going to start production in Q2, and they should launch in Q2. But it's possible they launch in Q3.
And then should I just have affordable vehicles, or should I have one for each?
Just one right now until we know more about it. Maybe.
Okay. All right, this is great, guys. Okay, so I've got unsupervised ride hailing launched in second half.
Why
Yep.
not Q2? I'm not sure this is going to take until the second half. I do believe that there actually is going to be a race now between California and Texas who is going to allow it first. And my money is on Texas.
Sorry, did I miss something? I was busy. What did you say about this one?
Yeah. Shuffle your stuff around. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be earlier than second half for the ride-hailing services, and I think there's a race going on now between Texas and California. That is that my money is on Texas to start it first. So I would put it up to Q2 and inverse Texas and California. And I think you should also add federal initiative launched, because I do believe with all the political announcements we've had the last couple of days, especially over the weekend, it is clear that the Department of Transportation will have this as the super priority. And I do believe they're gonna, really launch an initiative on this in Q1. I mean, the inauguration is on the 20th of January, and I think it's gonna happen before end of March.
Sorry, what is this? A federal framework?
Yeah, well, the federal initiative for autonomous driving.
Okay. I'm not going to. I personally don't agree with moving this to Q2. No, I'm going to leave it there.
Okay, well, then leave it there. But federal, I mean, I want another line. How many lines do we have now?
What's your there? I put it in federal framework, right?
Okay, perfect. And that is, in my view, Q1. Yeah.
Unsupervised ride hailing launched in second half of the year. Okay.
Okay, if you want to.
Yeah.
I mean, if it is before, make sure that you hear about me.
I'll make sure that you said so. Dojo Gen 2. Is that an appropriate milestone? Yes. Yes. He's talked about Gen 2 and Gen 3, right?
Okay.
Okay. Lithium refining plant.
Don't we have that already? The one in Texas?
I don't believe it's launched.
The one in Texas?
Yep.
No.
So what? At the moment we're extracting, but we're not refining. Is that what's happening?
I don't think it's even.
I mean, it was about a year ago that they had all these politicians over there, and this whole.
March 2024 was construction started, and then the target for beginning lithium production is set for early 2025. Full-scale production is the refinery by 2025. So yeah, they're ramping up production second half of 2024. So I think what you might say, full operational mid to late 2025. So maybe you're right. Full operational is the word. Okay.
Or you can put 2 lines.
Not going to put 2 lines. Not for the lithium refining. Tesla bot, more than 1,000 internal use. Is that the next milestone for the Tesla bot?
1,000 use in second half? You got to be kidding. Q1.
There's going to be 1,000 of the Tesla bots for internal use by the second half of next year.
Q1.
Yes. No.
Q1.
What?
Q1.
No.
Q1.
No.
I mean, come on, they're giving you one to Kim Kardashian now. They have enough.
No. That is version 2 that we saw there, right? It's going to have to be version 3. That's going to be the first one that they're going to do in production. That's not even announced yet.
It doesn't say version 3 in your thing. It doesn't say version 3 in your.
Well, I'm explaining to you that's why you're not going to be able to get to 1,000 of them until there's no way it's going to happen in Q1. It's going to be like second half. Jeff, what's your tiebreaker?
Do you remember in his earnings calls, he said he will have 1,000 of them by end of 2024. You remember that?
No, second half. I'm with the in use, right? In use. So deployed in factories. That would be second half.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's just finish this off quickly here. You got vehicle sales hitting more than 2.2 million. And then these are things that maybe next year, right? New Gigafactory announced, maybe Tesla semi 50,000 per year, semi-factory completed, Cybercap available for purchase, Dojo Gen 3, global vehicle fleet greater than 10 million. Robotaxi fleet more than 100,000, Optimus first clinical customer trials, and then you get Robovan, Roadster, and these big things that I'm just going to leave empty for now.
Kim Kardashian testing the Optimus is not a customer trial.
It's not a customer trial, no. No, we're talking about, I guess,
What is it then?
big customers, not individuals.
Now, do you think Kim Kardashian is not a big customer?
I think her photo shoot should be up here. I think it should be a line.
No.
I
it
think
should
so
be an
too.
entire
I mean,
show
I think there are a
dedicated
couple
to
of pictures I'm not sure I want to see
No.
again. But
Not going to do that. All right. So anything that we're missing, except for, you guys are suggesting Kim Kardashian. I'm not going to put that in. But anything else?
Then the Tesla Boomer Mama photo shoot with Optimus.
There you go. That's a milestone that we need to do.
There you go.
All right. So that was a fun exercise. I appreciate that. We will put this together and then we'll ask for other people's feedback. But those are the milestones that we're expecting. So next up here is let's talk about the Tesla shorts that some people are basically still shorting Tesla, right, Alexandra? So why don't you set the stage about what's happening with the shorts? Who is doing this?
okay, sure. I can do that. So I do this table every quarter. You have to know that quarter ends, this time it was on the 30th of September, and then 6 weeks later on the 15th of the second month, or whatever falls on a weekday, they have to publish their positions with the SEC. And then I take it from Fintel, and I just want to, if you can actually pull up that table, if Herbert, I want to explain what I do in these tables, because you find loads and loads of different tables on shorts. But what I do, you see on the top, the four headers. The very right is the net between the long and the short positions. That's what I'm using as the benchmark. And then I list them from the biggest short position to the smallest. But you see, there's a much different position between what is called clean energy transition. I don't remember this idiot's name anymore, Peer something. So this fund is currently the biggest short seller of Tesla. And Jeff had posted a very nice video of him where he was in the spring this year on CNBC cursing about Elon and going short. So he's currently the biggest short position, because you see the 1 million, and that's actually corresponding to $1 billion of a short position. Then you have much different Bank Pictet, which actually comes up twice in the top 5 in number 2 and 5 position. This is a Swiss bank and their Asian daughter. They have a market-making position. So while they are overall short and very short, and actually if you take the two together, they're even more short than the Clean Energy Transition Fund, they also have on the other side calls. Now again, summed it all up, they are still net very, very short, but it is not as easy to read as the Clean Energy Transition Fund, who is just going in with puts all the way. So they bought puts and they put a lot of money on them. Actually, half of their fund, of this Clean Energy Transition Fund, is gaming on the fact that the Tesla share price will go down. And remember, Likander, thank you very much. Thank you, Perion. So his gamble in the third, he actually built up that position over a couple of quarters, but at the end of September, and the stock price was 36% lower than it is now, then he had the equivalent of $1 billion in put positions. So that is that. And I just see a comment. I want to do that while we're talking about funds. ARK having drastically reduced their position. That's not true at all. ARK is trimming. As the stock goes up, the stock price goes up, the weight in their funds, notably ARK K, reaches now levels that they're not comfortable with, meaning exceeding 15%. Historically, they've never gone over 16%. Let me just re-explain the rules ARK has. They don't have in the prospectus anymore the rule that they can't hold over 10%, because they wanted to let it ride a little bit. But they have an agreement with their customers, especially their institutional customers, because about 40% of their funds are held by institutional clients. I'm talking about ARK, ARK-F, and ARK-Q. Those are the ones having Tesla as a position, and the deal with those customers to be able to be in there. And I hear that their customers are mainly, churches and very conservative institutional investors. So the deal with them is they're very uncomfortable about having a position that's more than 10%. So the deal is, okay, we can build the position up to 10%, but once it's at 10%, we let it run. We don't add any further, but when it gets to the 15, 16% range, we trim it. Now, since the stock is keeping going up and up and up, we're all the time around 15%. So even if they sell 0.5% of it, the next day the stock rises again, and we're there again. So yes, they're constantly trimming to stay within that limit. But in ARK, the biggest fund, Tesla is still by far the biggest position, and it's still exceeding 15%.
Thank you so much for that update. It's weird that people are still shorting Tesla. Maybe that's just my position because I'm a bull. But here is somebody who was saying, here's the headwinds for 2025. I wanted to see what you guys all think. One, this person is saying that in 2025, you will have the elimination of the $7,500 US EV credit. You could have reduction and elimination of the Chinese EV subsidies. You could have a slow ramp of new lower price products. Okay. Musk political agenda loses favor with Trump. FSD fails to significantly improve high profile crashes. Anybody want to jump on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you leave it up, Herbert, I think it's always good to you should have if you own something, you should have the bear case for ownership, and you should have it in your head, and you should understand it. You should go through it. You should update it. And any one of these things could happen. I've talked about the $7,500 credit on X. I think there's multiple sides to this. I think, and for some reason, there's been this race of people who just want to like puff their chest out and saying, if you think that the $7,500 credit going away is bullish for Tesla, then you're like spinning. Like, just slow down. Like, you have to do proper first order, second order analysis of how these things could happen. You don't have to make it too complex in doing it, but this isn't a one size fits all thing. First off, it could take some period of time to do this. So what's your factor on that? And could it drive demand? Could it actually pull demand in while this thing is hanging out there, where people are like, I want to order my car before the credit goes away? You have to factor things in like that. But yeah, if it goes away, the challenge is going to be on people that make EVs to figure out, can they figure out between what the Fed is doing and between what they're building, and can they get their cost structure down, and commensurate, so it allows people to still go over into this adoption. This swing over into EV adoption is really going to be about a multitude of things, but it's going to be people thinking about the feature value trade-off, and is this disruptive in their life anymore? Can you switch to EV and everything is great? So as charging times come down, you've seen Tesla release, the V4 supercharger, and now all of a sudden, this thing can now charge your Cybertruck at 1,300 miles an hour for some period of time, and other the S3XY as well. Charging speeds will increase when you start making these big quantum jumps in things like charging speed. When you start being able to add range, and you start being able to reduce price relative to the size of the battery pack, which is, I think, what we're going to see in the vehicles next year. I think you're going to see smaller battery packs, but still the 300 mile plus range. I think this conversion is going to continue happening in pretty wide scale. But anyway, I don't want to spend too much time. I think it's important to understand the bear case. I think some of these other things on the list, probably the scariest one is going to be how does the media react? As more FSD, I think, is going to double here in very short order in terms of people using it. I flipped from using it, a minority of the time last year on V11 to I have to note now, if I get in my car and I don't use it, it's kind of rare for me to just be driving in my car. So the question is that usage picks up and the number of people using it, are there going to be more incidents to deal with, and how will that be dealt with in the media? I think the political side, I think this is definitely swung in the favor of Tesla and Elon, and there's just no question about it. And the question is, he's definitely riding on the edge. You're kind of at the pinnacle in terms of influence, and maybe, you know, down from here is where you can go. But I think between here and that point, a lot of stuff can get done and influenced in government for the benefit of everyone. The slower ramp of the vehicles, I'm more interested in the ramp of Tesla reducing price of their vehicles. And I'll close it here because I don't want to go on for too long. I think one thing that people are missing is when the new affordable vehicles start ramping, the price, the COGS of the 3 and Y are going to drop in that same quarter. And the reason the COGS of the 3 and Y are going to drop as the new vehicles scale is they're using all the same larger form CapEx in the factory. And now you're going to have more vehicles and more models to divide that CapEx spend and those fixed costs into. So what people aren't thinking is that they think the 3Y is like, we're at the end and we're done. No, when these new vehicles start, the 3Y CapEx allocations going to come down, and they're going to continue to come down in price.
Nice.
But anyway, I'm trying to answer the list of somebody saying like, what can go wrong? I think it's important to have those lists, and I think it's always important to challenge yourself. And you know, there's risk. There's those risks are some of them are appropriate for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go do some answers and questions and answers from the audience here. Welcome, Larry. Hopefully you can answer this one. If you guys think Legacy Auto will license FSD soon, won't that Osborne their current cars for the next year or two? Why announce it sooner than later?
I'm missing something.
Can't hear you, Larry. Fortunately, you're breaking in and out.
Yeah, well, I've tried everything, guys. I've tried everything.
I know. Appreciate you. You got your Mini, right? Your Starlink Mini?
Well, I acted on the Mini. I had a really bad decision. Well, not a bad decision. I had to charge, so I couldn't run a Mini while I was charging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Answer to this question.
I mean, it's a fair question. Why would they announce it sooner than later? But on the other hand, I don't think the clientele of whoever it is going to wait 2 or 3 years to buy a car, right? What they want to is they need a car now. They have a need now. And their choice is going to be, let's say it's China, between a BYD that doesn't have it and a Geely that doesn't have it, and in 2 or 3 years they'll see. I think this is more of a tech announcement. You know, this is us partnering, and there will be in the future. They won't give a precise date when that will come out, and it obviously gives Tesla all the leverage for the next 2 or 3 years to be the only one, right? Because it will take them 2 or 3 years to come out with models that are adapted and can do it. But they will be proud to do it. They will be proud to do it, and Tesla can actually request them to do it. They can say, look, if you want to work with us, we have to make this public. And so it could be very well a request from Tesla to get the whole thing rolling, saying to the first 3, you have to do it, and otherwise we won't partner with you.
Yeah, just to add, Osborning is more of a near-term thing than a multi-year thing. Is kind of the way to think about it. I think Alexandra said that. I just wanted to reemphasize that point, because when you're thinking about getting a car, there's been studies on this too, and people, you know, once they have that thought in their mind, they want to make a decision pretty quickly, then they want to procure the vehicle pretty quickly. And it's not it's going to take them a couple of years to integrate FSD. So anyway, I don't think this is an Osborning risk. But you know, if they were ready to ship inside of a year and they start talking about it, well then yeah, they could Osborne their current vehicles. But these brands have got to manage that themselves. Great
answers, guys. Okay, so this next question is about liability associated with autonomous driving. You know, how much it could, if there's a crash, what could happen. And this person is saying, have you heard about the Ship Owners Limitation Liability Act of 1851? A ship owner can limit their total financial liability to their ship's value. We need the same for autonomous vehicles.
And that's an interesting idea, but I don't think that's going to fly with the DMVs. I understand that ship values can be limited to only the ship and probably the cargo it has on it, which then doesn't hurt or doesn't help the other ship that got collided with, or the sea that got polluted or whatever. In a car situation, it's I feel, first of all, much more common and also much more dangerous. And people have the notion of being insured. So it's not as if you can tell them now, look, you're now in a commercial situation. A car owner is not in a commercial situation. I mean, there are some commercial owners, but the most of them are in their personal names. And you feel like if you hurt something or somebody with your car because FSD didn't function correctly, well, whose responsibility is it? You can't just say, oh, I'm paying for my car, but that's your issue. I don't think that's going to fly.
No question, no answer, Jeff?
No, I haven't heard of that specific act, but I think it's interesting. I agree with Alexander's take. I think this requires regulatory reform, but again, not adding a bunch of regulations, but just like how do you deal with this in a safe, efficient manner?
Yeah. Okay. And this next question seems to be asked over and over and over again, which is the David Crozier podcast is asking, is the Cybercab with steering wheel and pedals, if you just add those, that could that be released as a cheaper Tesla model, sub $25,000?
It could, and I actually think it will. So I don't, the Cybercabs will have different forms and shapes and ages and ways to do it, and steering wheels or not steering wheels. One thing I actually read not further than yesterday is that the current autonomous vehicle authorizations, so that's for Waymo, that's for Cruise, and that's for Tesla, meaning steering wheel and pedal less, is limited to 1,000 cars in the United States. So that's one of the regulations that needs to change very quickly for Tesla to be able to expand it to the millions of Teslas that are out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what Tesla is doing with these lower cost vehicles in the first half, the Cybercab later, is I think they've crossed over a threshold, and I don't think they're widely talking about this, but they're going to transform the construction of the vehicle in the factory and go to the unboxed model. But before that, they're going to design all these new high-cost modules. The highest cost modules, they're all redesigning. And these are going to be the inputs to unboxed, but they're going to be used in the serial general assembly approach that's used on the 3 and Y today. They're going to use them for the affordable vehicles. Why is this important? I think Tesla is going to be reaching thresholds on the battery pack, the electric motor, the inverters, on all these major modules in the vehicle. They're going to reach a price point where they're going to have the flexibility now. They're going to have the ability to platform and reuse, and then have the flexibility because they've got the cost down. One of the barriers to platforming and reusing is you haven't future-proofed it, and you haven't gotten the cost structure lower, so you're always trying to figure out, and you have to do some sort of massive redesign. I think they've reached a point now where they can do multiple vehicle types and do them in more rapid succession than before. So I think they're actually going to upend a couple of things. First off, they're going to upend the end cost for these vehicles, but they have to do it at scale. So is Cybercabs in 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 a quarter, it's still going to be a little bit expensive. But as they get these things closer to 1 million units and beyond in scale, they're going to be able to reach these price points. But my point is I think they've hit a point now with battery pack cost, motor cost, where they can do multiple platforms and vehicle types. And I think the thing they're going to surprise people with is they're going to be able to do multiple vehicle form factor types and do them in more rapid succession than a typical car program that others do. I think that's the thing that's kind of lurking, that's going to come out. It's the next thing, I think, to upend the auto industry. It's not only unboxed, but what it actually unlocks from a development process perspective and speed to market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember what Elon said, right, at the earnings call. He said, we are not going to be creating a sub $25,000 compact car. They're going with this as a full robotaxi. The Cybercabs are robotaxi. They've got these other models that they're going to try to get to under $30,000 with incentives, as he said. And I think Jeff was saying that in the future, if they needed to create a new version. Now, I think maybe plan B, if something is delayed, they might be able to then just do that. But it's apparently not that easy to just slap on a steering wheel and pedals and side mirrors to this Cybercab. That's what some people are saying. So, right now, according to Elon, we're not doing that, right? We're going full on robotaxi, but maybe plan B. All right, another milestones. Eric Dahl says milestone in late 2024. Gordon Johnson starts
Oh.
job at Starbucks.
Oh, be nice with him. Apparently, he had to sell his condo in New York because he doesn't have much money left. Let's be nice with Gordon.
Yeah, I mean he's not a bear. So I don't know. People keep saying, "Oh, you should have more bears on your show," but he's not a bear. He has a personal, political, whatever agenda here.
I agree. I mean, he's a pain, but let's still be nice with him.
Nothing he says is like a rational, bearish approach. If you ever listen to him and talk to him, he won't even let you talk, and he's going off. And listen, if somebody's saying to you that Tesla market cap is worth $25 per share, there's something seriously wrong. That's not a bear.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, you're right, Herbert. The distinction's important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's $100 is what you might hear some people saying. Okay, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Herbert, I wanted to be kind for once.
Oh,
and now I'm not allowed to be kind for once.
Okay. Well, so those are the questions we've got from the audience. Let's see if I can find a few more. Somebody said, I don't see the cheaper model release in Q1 or Q2 feels bad. If we don't see the cheaper model release in Q1. Yeah.
I mean,
he's saying the affordable models need to come in Q1.
Little, one thing I've learned with Tesla over the last 4 or 5 years that I followed it is when you don't hear nothing, the surprise is coming. So at the moment, obviously, the whole attention is on politics, on Starbase, and there's so many other topics that people don't really talk about Tesla, which is a perfect place to be to launch a new car.
Okay,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said earlier, Q2, I think Q2 started production, but maybe Q3 for vehicle availability and volume. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't understand this question. How is it not a problem to have a steering wheel in a Model Y put into the robo fleet? It's not. Riders could interfere. Oh, riders could interfere. Could they not? Gotcha. If it's a Cybertruck, it's steered by wire, so it doesn't matter if you do something with the steering wheel. How will they manage Model Y?
But even if for the others, you can obviously program that the steering wheel can't intervene if it is in a robotaxi mode. I mean, there will be a mode that will not allow somebody to turn the wheel or push on the pedals or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they have the ability to lock this, just like they can lock it in park, right?
Of course.
Yeah,
I mean, this has been thought through for 10 years. So everything that's on the road now has been thought for that very situation.
Good point. Scott Smith says, I think the margins on the Model Y will get squeezed by the new Model Y.
I don't know what that means. When the new model when the new Model Y comes out, the old Model Y is going to ramp down. In fact, perfection is them clearing the channel of vehicles that are built, that are in the sales channel, clearing the factory, clearing their upstream suppliers of unique parts to the old Model Y. That's what success is going to look like. Now, and they did that I think they actually did that pretty well in the Model 3, but it was almost to an extreme where like the market was actually starved between the old and the new Model 3 in terms of getting out there. But that transition is important. But I think in terms of margins, I actually think the margins are going to improve on the new Model Y, but it's got to get the scale. So yeah, you maybe that first quarter, the margins are not going to be good on the new Model Y. It's not going to be at scale yet. But as soon as they get that thing ramped up, I think the margins from a terminal or a lifetime perspective will be better.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. So we went through all the milestones. One question I did want to ask you guys, we don't have time right now, is to go through which of these are actually stock catalysts. At this point, we don't know, except for earnings. By the way, I'm going to put in the queue every earnings. Those are the key things that drive milestone or sustained stock increases, and so I'll add those in. But some of these do become like maybe the FSD
new vehicles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course. First FSD revenue,
new vehicles,
then the other one
deals,
is when and much huger energy revenues. I mean, there's so much that's going to catalyze.
It's not going to. Everything's coming together in 2025 for sure. So thank you guys for helping me put that together. I'll release it on my X account shortly. Thanks, everybody. Bye, all.
Thank you.